All right, Jason Rona here. We're in the JConcepts garage. We're talking with JR Mitch here with another vlog episode here on YouTube. And JR, we just wanted to bring in as a guest here. We've been out on the road quite a bit lately. We've had a lot of great events you've been to. We've been writing them down here earlier because it was kind of a heck of a little bit of a run you've been on. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about the Force Series here in Florida. It just started up this year. Last year, obviously it was going, but this year you've been running all the events. And talk to us about the first event at Dean's and, kind of what did you learn out there and what type of surface were you running on?
Yeah, Dean's started off kind of, wet in the morning kind of deal, our normal Florida situation. Got pretty good traction in the middle, and then we run into night because we're there, it's good 13, 14-hour days. So then run into kind of like a dustier situation at night, and the lighting is okay. So it was kind of hard getting your bearings, your depth perception, dust, and all that other stuff. But at the end of it, a good result, and I think over 200 entries, at that race. So good promotion and good support out there from the racers here in Florida.
From a 1/8 scale standpoint, you race everything. What is it like at a typical day like that for you? I know you're lots of times lately running 3 classes, and you kind of have to keep up with 3 different cars, and then also you're doing well on the track. But what's it like to adjust to 3 different cars for people that maybe only race one? What is it like to keep up with 3 different vehicles like that?
Yeah, it's definitely rough. There's a lot of you're changing tires from car to car, say, that you would like to have the same set of tires on both cars, but sometimes you run into a pinch and you just have to take it for what it is and run another set of tires on the car, or run the same set of tires over again. Just knowing that where you have to put in your time on the track, and have to give a little bit in some other areas. So you're kind of managing it all at the same time. So I would say probably the most of the day you're managing it. I have a great guy that goes around with me, Walter Cruz, that helps me out. He helps me clean or get ready and make sure everything is ready to go for each race.
So we'll talk a little bit more about Nitro here as you as we move down into the events. But at that particular race, I believe you won the truggy class, and then you got second in the 2 buggy classes, correct?
That race I won e-buggy and got third in Nitro.
Okay.
Buggy.
And then in the truggy class, you won that.
Yes.
Okay. So were you out at Dean's? Were you using on your truck here? This is from an event a couple weeks ago. Were you using the same tire here, the Chasers, or did you run the Reflex?
Yeah, we ran the Reflex at that one. I believe I ran blues the whole time I was there, trying to, you probably could have ran a green the whole time, but to mount another set of greens, truggy tires takes a while to mount, so kind of went with a little harder compound and, just kind of rocked those the whole day kind of thing.
One thing I noticed about those races is, what is it, a 25-minute main or a 30-minute?
I think it's a 30. Well, that one got cut down to 30. The last one was 35, so they cut them down sometimes with time. So
okay. So then you moved on from there. You went 10 scale racing. You flew out to Reno. You attended the Comstock Challenge, which was out there at Randy Pike's track.
Track time hobbies, yes.
What was it like going out there for the first time? And obviously it's never easy going East Coast to West Coast. What was it like going out there for the first time?
It was really enjoyable. I was able to pit with some of the local guys there, and it was fun. Learning experience all the same. I've raced 20 some odd years, but it seems like every time you go, it's a learning experience. That was a wet slick type of condition, and myself personally, I haven't been put in too many wet slick type of conditions. So it took a little bit of getting used to things, talking to some people that were there, locals, and kind of figuring out what needs to be done. And by the end of the weekend, I was right on pace. Could have worked out a little bit better for my favor in some instances, but for the most part, it was a very enjoyable weekend.
And at that race, you ended up winning Mod Truck, I believe. And then, the race where you're running 3 classes, managing the 3 classes, which, it's great that you're able to do that. So Mod Truck, you're able to win that one. And then I believe you got a podium in the 4-wheel drive class.
Yeah, I got second in 4-wheel drive, and then fourth in 2-wheel drive.
Okay. So for the guys that really don't know 100%, you talked earlier about this being a track where you're running slicks, but it's wet. The track is wet. In this situation, my experience is the amount of water that's on the track is super critical. So if there's that right amount of water scenario where you put the water out on the track and then it's a little icy and then it tacks up and then that's when the cars hook up well.
Yeah.
If you have too much water, then it's loose and you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and your lap times drop down because of it.
Actually managing the surface is as big of a difference as anything.
Correct.
How do you watch when you see what's going on when you're at a race like that? Not a lot of people pick up on this kind of stuff, but you have a lot of experience. I mean, what do you see when you're looking at the track that you're like, okay, I got to be prepared for this? And you can't make a lot of last second changes to the car, but you can make adjustments as a driver. So what do you do as a driver when you see the track's being prepped and you're like, okay, I can kind of expect this or that?
Yeah, I mean, you have, obviously we all kind of wait in line to get on the driver's stand for the next race, and we're all kind of cutting up and talking to each other, and we're all friends and everything. But I also take a little bit of time there to watch the cars that are on the track and to take notice if those cars are loose in a certain area or they're maybe a little bit more grippy in one area than another. And just by those, taking those accounts in, that actually could help my run to know that you can push it in that area, or you can, take it easy in a certain area. And a lot of the races, nitro, also is that you got to know where to do it, where you can do it at. I mean, if you try to just keep doing 100% throughout the whole track, sometimes that can come back to bite you. And I try to make sure that I'm always going to have maybe not the best of run that I can have, but I'm going to be up at the top kind of thing. That gives you the best points and the best average to finish the best. So
yeah, I guess to me, what I'm thinking of when you're saying there is you can watch another car. You don't actually have to be driving on the track yourself, but you can be watching a car and you can say, hey, he's a little bit loose here, he's got great traction here, and you can actually convert that into your run.
Correct. So
you can use what you're watching while you're racing for your race, and it's not like you're totally surprised when you get out there.
Exactly.
So it's like it's kind of an experience thing in a way where you can actually, instead of wondering, you watch a guy that you think is getting around okay, and you say, hey, he's having problems here, so I'll make that adjustment. But over here, this is where we can make up our time, and then you push it. Right.
Yeah. You kind of take some mental notes, and then try to file those in. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on, in your 5-minute run or whatever, but you try to take those notes in as much as you can, and apply those to your run. I mean, the mains there, the 3A mains, but those mains are 8 minutes long there. So you and then you gotta try to balance, concentrating for that, put it in, make sure you make the move here, or it's a little loose there, or it's overbite here,
So great race there. The judge is your next event. We went to the Hayne Judge event in Arkansas together with GS Hobbies. And this is probably your second or third time out there.
I think this is my 4th year we was talking about when I was there. So.
Okay, so what's this like? I know it's a little smaller track, but you guys have a good time. Talk to us about your result there, and what was it like compared to kind of maybe going back a step to the Comstock race? How do you compare the two?
Yeah, I mean, the Comstock race, you're kind of, super fast, long straightaway. GS Hobby, super small straightaway. I mean, you're going from lap times that were, I couldn't recall, but maybe 18 seconds, you're going to 9 seconds kind of deal. So obviously your EPAs come down, your radio for your throttle and stuff to make sure that you're the right speed for the track, because I don't know if that gets talked about a lot, but you can actually, even though you want to have the fast motor, it comes back to bite you kind of deal. So you want to have the right speed for the track. That's probably the first thing I did from the one race, is make sure the car is the right speed for the track. And then, that's kind of a wet slick too, and it kind of dries out by the end of the race, kind of like some other tracks. But it was a good weekend. TQ'd and won 2-wheel and 4-wheel there, and I think we got like 80 entries, which for that track is pretty good. I mean, we can only fit probably about 50 people in there, and we had some people pitting outside, so kind of a smaller situation, but it's good crowd, good promotion for everybody.
So if you had to say with the Comstock and then the Judge event, what are you running pretty much a similar tire setup there, like compound wise?
Yeah, it's all gold slicks.
Okay, so you're running like the smoothies, gold compound.
Correct.
And did you at all use the same tires from both races, or did you mount?
Yeah, I started at GS Hobby for practice. I started with the same set from the weekend before, but after tire sauce takes effect, it kind of gets the tires where they're a little like greasy, and then started a new set of tires, like halfway through practice, and that kind of lasts through the whole main event.
So in a way, you can say that with slicks, even though you're not wearing out the tread, what you're doing is when you're adding tire sauce, sometimes it makes the tire soft, and it gets to the point where when you're driving it, you can feel sort of the distortion of the soft tire, and you don't exactly have that pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah, it'll get kind of like wishy-washy kind of thing, like where you want to point it into a certain corner, and it could be a little bit more inconsistent where you want that consistency to be there. Okay.
So so now we got, we went through 3 events. We got the Force, we had the Comstock, the Hanging Judge race, and then you hit another, it was time for another Force race, which is what this truck is off the track from. Blue Rock was the second leg of the Force series here in Florida. So, tell us how that one went. And I've never been there before personally. I've been trying to get up there, but I think it was your first time.
Yeah, it was my first time. And the track facility, they have a snack bar and all that other stuff there. Really good. Driver stand's really good. The track, it's kind of dusty kind of situation. Looks like it had some rain on it. Sat kind of like our Florida situation. So the sand part was a little high, but the track crew there did a great job, kept it wet and blown off as much as they could, and it really worked out pretty good. It's just a little bit of a, you have the whole thing of where you're learning the track back and forth, but you're going from running a 10 skill car on an 8-second lap track to you're going to a truggy the next weekend on a 28-second track. So it's a little different situation. So practice a little bit extra on Friday, get a little bit extra track time, and make sure your engine and everything's all tuned up good and you're ready to rock.
I guess that kind of brings up a point for me is I think, you went from a track, like you said, you're running 8-9 second laps to a track you're doing 28, 30s with a nitro car. Now you're outside, you're running treaded tires. Everything's different. I mean, their RC cars is probably the only similarity at that point. But, and you mentioned getting a little extra practice on Friday because of that. For the people that, might be in that situation, why do you do that?
I mean, it's just helping me get back into that mode. I mean, we're going to be now probably from here to the Nationals, which are in 2 weeks. I'm going to try to stay in the nitro mode. I found out from of course learning going all these races, Psycho Nitro, I'm just not on the gas as much as I need to be. So, that probably goes from being at tracks that are 8-second lap times. So. Trying to get back into that mode where you're on that certain car and you're feeling like you're on the gas that much, you probably need to be on the gas even more when it's nitro. So when you go back and forth, you try to correlate that in your brain, but sometimes it has to take more practice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, essentially what you're saying is there is a different style. I mean, you're obviously a good driver, real diverse. But when it comes to driving on a different size track, that there's an adjustment factor regardless of how much experience you have. That with this truggy, I'm going to be able to stand in it, stay in it, brake late. You're going to drive harder through the bumps. You're going to be more of an aggressive driver than when you're driving somewhere else with a buggy where you're a little more like, all right, I just don't want to get hung up. I want to stay smooth. with these, you can hang it out a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're counter steering, you're getting it to turn with the diffs and all the other stuff to get more steering in certain areas. I mean, with me and doing it so long, it probably takes me less time to figure that out, because I'm out there and I'm like, okay, well, this is a truggy now. I kind of get it, and I can put it kind of down, kind of thing. But for some other people, it probably takes a little bit more time to get those fundamentals down.
Yeah, I mean, what I see at some of these events is I see people that come in and they're say it's a truggy, but they're one tank in and they're making all these adjustments. And to me, I always think that you have to be really aware of what you're doing, because you haven't really adjusted yet. Like, as you pointed out, is that you're out there like getting a lot of track time because you feel like you're leaving a ton of driving on the table, not necessarily setup. And then I'm guessing by the time you feel like, okay, I'm adjusted to this track.
Correct.
If I want to make a change, now I'm going to make a change.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it my first time.
No.
It's like I haven't even decided where I'm full throttle yet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, from point A to point B in some of the turns and stuff, I know that my speed can pick up in those areas before going crazy and changing the clutch or something like that you want to kind of do on the track and do it with yourself and the radio before you go to make those major adjustments.
So, moving on from the Force race, you had a great event there. We'll just run over how you did at that event, and then we'll move on to the next one. What was your results in that second Force race?
I was able to win Truggy again for the second race. Nitro buggy, we're all three, Griffin, teammate was there, and Chandler Elliott was there. So we had a couple pretty fast guys that weren't kind of local, kind of came from out of state. And we were all kind of freight training in buggy, and a couple little mistakes can cost you big, and they cost me big in nitro, and just couldn't make up the time, and ended up finishing second in that, and second in e-buggy.
Okay, so far, I mean, through the series, I mean, you haven't finished out of the podium.
Yeah.
You're probably doing, you're probably the leader in the points at this point. So, in the end of the day, I mean, it's nice to win every race, but then there's also the idea of staying consistent. And I mean, it doesn't do you any good if you win one and then you get last in the other. Yeah. You want to stay right there. So, so everything's looking good there. So we'll move on to, you took a little break. And then we got out at the, you just ran at the anniversary series at Beachline. Yep. And obviously the nice track we have here in Florida, out in Cocoa. Right. And Beachline. And talk to us about your experience out there. I think you ran 2 classes again. Yep. And what was it like being back out on the 10 scale track?
Right, yeah, well, we did going back and forth kind of thing, but we have to kind of do that. Different representatives of all the different companies, we got to try to support the product as much as we can. As much as, there could be, 5 nitro races in a row, you have to get back and forth and go support the product on the other side of the line, which is a 10 scale. So Beachline has their anniversary series, and I think they had like 108 entries, which is pretty good. Yeah. And you kind of get into a different mode of all the other tracks that we've talked about with this track because of the grip level being so high. I would relate the grip level to being higher than carpet. And it seems like every time I'm there, not so much where I go from 10 scale to nitro and I know what I have to more practice to get the nitro. It's more of trying to get my car right and an easier to drive for myself on the Beachline surface. So every time I'm at Beachline, it seems like every time I run, my car is different. Yeah. Because I'm trying to make it where it's easier for me to drive. And this weekend was no different. And try to get a good result and learn all at the same time. So I was able to win 4-wheel. And second buggy, so it was pretty good. Turned some of the faster lap times that have been on that track, and got the car where it's more consistent. Got myself where it's more consistent, and it was a pretty good weekend. So with your 2-wheel run, the TLR 22 3.0, are you on the laydown transmission? Yep, on the laydown conversion, yes. Okay, so for all 3 of these events you ran on our, what we're talking about here, we lay down the whole time? Lay down the whole time, yeah. I mean, we're probably, in that situation, if you're on a low pin or a slick kind of situation, we're probably looking at laydown cars at this point in time.
Okay, so for sure the laydown transmission if you're running anywhere where you're running slicks or near there.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that's good news. I mean that's what I'm seeing at some of the events I've been at. Makes sense, and seems like every time you go down there, you're getting a little bit quicker. And it's obviously one of those tracks where rewards keep going there.
Yeah, it definitely keeps those things of where you're trying different stuff each time. You know, hopefully you hit something that benefits you a little bit better, and you know, it seems to be that way with me now.
So for your recommendations, if you're going out to Beachline, what, you know, how are you setting up your tires at this point, and you know, what are you doing?
Well, I'm still running the Gold Smoothie. Seems to be the best bet. I mean, the only real run a 4-wheel drive front instead of a standard 2-wheel drive front on the standard 2-wheel drive wheel. And gluing the insert to the wheel, that helps a little bit also to you know, keep the car a little bit more consistent. But other than that, you know, tire sauce is a little bit changed up, you know, to have the right tire sauce for the right condition. But the Gold Smoothie seems to be the best bet. All four 4-wheel tires are, you know, as they come out of the package, mounted on there, and you know, turn to 16.1, which is a pretty good lap time there. And
you're running the 2.0 4 car now?
Yeah, with gear diffs.
Okay.
Gear diffs is a big key there for 4-wheel.
Yeah, I mean, real quickly, I mean, that's a new car that just came out, the 22.4 2.0. I know when Mayfield started running TLR, you know, he had a little concern about that car in general. It's turned out to be one of his more successful cars he's run. You know, and for you as well. I mean, that's been a really great car for you. And now that it has the gear diffs and some things, what it is that you like about that car? What do you like about it?
It seems to be the balance of it, and the landing and the jumping, and all the necessary things that you need in the 4-wheel class to go fast. It does well. Yes, it's maybe not the best car for all of the conditions, but there isn't really a car that's good for all the conditions, but it's good for almost most of the conditions, which is what you kind of need for a 4-wheel car to, you know, perform well.
Okay, so what we're looking forward to now is we talked a little bit earlier that there's for the 3rd round of the 4 Series that's coming up here in 2 weeks. Where is that event going to be at?
It's going to be in Daytona. I'm not sure quite exactly what the track name is, but we've been there several times. It's been around for a long time, and I'm looking forward to going back.
Okay, so then immediately we're going to turn around and do the Roar Nationals.
Yeah, we're gonna come back from that one. We're gonna sleep on Jason Rona's couch here, and we're gonna be back on the road the next day to Houston.
Yeah, so we'll head over to Texas, and we're going to be over there at Thornhill. Have you watched any video of Thornhill, and what are you kind of looking forward to heading over there?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I've talked to you a lot about it, about the size, and you know, I have a little bit of a nitro thing here in Florida, is we don't get the situations that are outside of our state. We don't have quite the super long straightaways, the sweeping corners and stuff like that. Our tracks are kind of combined and small. So I've been in contact with you a lot when you're out there and trying to understand how the track is, and it seems now that it's maybe indoors, it's a little bit smaller in size, maybe not so much you know, a straightaway situation. So kind of just gonna go from what we've been talking about and get the cars as good as we can, and go from there.
All right, well, that's JR Mitch. He was nice enough to come in and have a little interview here today with us on the vlog, and we're gonna add all this in, and great information here about a bunch of different events, and thanks, JR, for coming out.
Thank you.
Good luck at the next upcoming race, and we'll see you for sure at the Roar Nationals.
Cool, thank you.